Welcome to this week's blogging video. This video is something that I try to do at least once a year. It's a little bit into my blogging story and then a roundup of our courses and what we have in our courses. We are constantly updating them. So I think it's helpful to just walk through and go through it so you can see which one is best for you if you are interested. So let's get into the video. I actually want to get way more in depth with just my blogging past and how I was able to grow my blog to where it is. But for this video, keep it a little more brief. So I started my blog in 2017. I was going into my sophomore year of college and I was paying for school completely 100% on my own. And so freshman year, I had like a little pity party about it. And then sophomore year, the bills started rolling in and I was like, I actually have to figure this out. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to drop out or take on so much debt. And I have like a fear of debt. So I started researching how stay-at-home moms started to make money while staying at home because I was like, okay, I'm a college student. I'm taking a full load of courses. I'm living in the dorm rooms. It's completely different than a stay-at-home mom, but similar in the sense that like we both have other priorities that we have to focus on debatably more. Not even debatably. We do have to focus on them more while also starting and trying to make money. So as I started researching that, I kept coming back to women who were making so much money by starting blogs. And I was like, okay, if they can start a blog and make this amount of money with kids running around everywhere, which is so much harder in my opinion, well, I guess I'll find out. But right now I think that that's so much harder than being a college student, then I can definitely do it too. So I went hard and I researched and I followed what they did to a T as far as strategy. And I very quickly learned that it is all strategy. It's not just something that you go post a random, something pops in my head and I'm like, I'm gonna write about this today. It's not like that at all. You plan, you research, and there's so many background things on different steps that you have to do and ways to show Google what your post is about. I mean, it opened up a whole nother world to me. I didn't even know what SEO was back then, and now every single thing I think about is literally SEO. So sophomore year, sophomore really all the way through senior year, I treated it like my full-time job. I'm very type A, so I made so many schedules of okay, if my classes are at this time, if I lump them all in the morning, then I can do 2 hours of homework and then I can get another 8 hours in afterwards. And I was addicted. It is literally all that I did. But that way, by the end of when I graduated, I was making $18,000 a month from my blog. And so I was able to go into blogging full-time after I graduated. I have income reports on my website. So we'll link that in the description because I would do income reports all the time back then. So you can see kind of the gradual, how I built it up to that and the specific amounts that I was making that month because I know that's a big question. And so I graduated, I went into it full time. I went into the dorm decor niche because my end goal for my career was to have an interior design firm. I knew that I did not know enough at that point to write about interior design, but something I didn't know a lot about was dorm decor. And if you were interested in dorm decor, you would eventually be interested in apartment decor and eventually home decor. So I was like, if I can follow them up through that process, I can get to my end goal of having a design firm. So all of college, those first 3 years, I wrote strictly about dorm decor, all things college organization, ways to decorate your dorm, different things like that. And then when I graduated, I still was writing about dorm decor, but I started focusing on apartment decor, and then I started focusing on houses. So starting a blog was a form of marketing for me. And it led to, now because of the blog, I have 3 other businesses that are $1 million businesses that would have never existed because of the blog. And at this point, the blog is still one of our biggest forms of income, but the other businesses just make a lot. The scale of the other businesses is just so much greater, but the blog is still what we use from a marketing sense to market the other businesses. They wouldn't have ever been able to grow as fast as they have if it wasn't for the blog. So I am such a massive proponent of blogs. I'm definitely not I don't take an influencer approach. I cannot harp on it enough that it's like so much strategy involved, and it really is a form of marketing. Like when adults ask me what I do and like the blog, they're always like, oh, you're a blogger. And I'm like, actually, like, yes, but no. Like how you used to go and market, or how you market on LinkedIn, or how you put a TV commercial on, or put an ad in a newspaper, or whatever it is. I use my blog as my form of marketing because I can get in front of way more people for way less of a cost. So from the blog, we've been able to start a paper planner company, which is like constantly sold out. And that was like a very, very natural evolution. I want to get, like I said, I want to get more into detail on like how everything is combined with the blog. So I'll schedule that video soon if people are interested. So we have that because of the blog. I have my design firm because of the blog. Right now we have 19 clients, which is like insane. We're doing projects I could have never dreamed of. And then we have these blogging courses, and I feel just so blessed and lucky and glad that I took the leap into blogging because I had no idea what I was doing. I was embarrassed about it in the beginning, but if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have created the life that I have. And like, I mean, it's like unbelievable. Like we have a team of 9 people now at this point. All of those flourishing businesses. Like I said, I feel so blessed. So much hard work went into it. Like blogging is not something that you just like snap your fingers and it happens. I mean, when I say I treated it like a full-time job for 3 years, I'm still grinding. But like specifically on the blog, I grinded. It's all my brain thought about. All for 3 years, all I thought about was the blog. So that's a little tidbit on just the blog and my journey. I want to get into the courses. So how the courses started was I am a huge course taker. Every single thing that I have done on my blog or even on the other businesses or whatever I wanted to learn, I go to courses because I truly believe that I would rather spend a couple $100s on a course and learn it in 2 weeks versus me testing it out for an entire year, failing, blah, blah, blah. And it's just a way more efficient use of my time. So now I have more money to invest in courses. But when I started, I had no money to invest in courses. So I would take on like babysitting jobs, and all of the money from the babysitting jobs would go obviously to like tuition, but also to getting courses. And I realized how helpful the courses were for me. And I think that they were one of the reasons that my blog was able to grow as fast as it did. And so when I got to the point where I was like, wait, I'm really figuring this out. I'm having really, really good success. I understand it. I could teach someone this. I was like, I'm going to start a course on my own because there were certain pieces of courses that I was taking that were missing. So I like first course was perfecting blogging. I started it and I was like, okay, what would I wanted to know when I first started my blog? Like the first thing. So perfecting blogging is the course that I would recommend if you are just starting a blog. And that is like dives into my brain, and how we handle my courses is I don't teach you what to do. I show you what I do. That has been so much more helpful for me in the courses that I've taken. So I mean, gosh, there's a million strategies that I can go and teach you, but I only know the strategy that has worked for me. So in all of our courses, I'm strictly teaching the things that I do on my blog. We are constantly updating the courses, so that actually how we handle updates is like we test them on our end for 3 months. If they are working after 3 months, then we go and update the courses because I don't want to like mess something up on your end if it's not actually working. But back to perfecting blogging. So perfecting blogging goes over our strategy for SEO. So there's certain ways that we set up our website, certain ways that we write things on our websites, our blog posts, how we lay those out, how we write things in the blog post, everything about SEO that I think that you need to know for a blog, how we get Google to understand what we're posting, how we come up with our content calendar, like from a standpoint on how we actually set up our content calendar, and how we research what posts we're gonna write, how we figure out when we're gonna post a post. I mean, everything involved with like your actual website is in perfecting blogging. Then the next course that I would recommend taking is perfecting Pinterest. If you watched my videos before, you know how much I preach about getting on Pinterest. It's the only social media out there that is strictly in place to get people to a website. Our click rate on Pinterest versus our click rate on Instagram or TikTok is astronomical. It's actually insane. We were just last week at a team retreat and we were looking at all of the stats for the website, and Pinterest is still our number one source of page views. It's like 55% Pinterest and 45% Google, which is a very healthy range in my opinion. But I mean, we are getting millions of page views just from Pinterest. And the way that you're gonna make money fastest on your blog is by getting into an ad agency. And to get into an ad agency, you need to have a certain number of page views, which is why you wanna get on Pinterest, because it's the fastest way to get page views, which then is the fastest way to apply for an ad agency. So on Pinterest, I go over everything involving our strategy on Pinterest, how we make our pins, how we connect our pins to our blog, how we write our captions, how we write our titles, how many pins we do, how we do our Pinterest schedule, keywording on Pinterest. Like even content calendar planning on Pinterest. Every single thing involving Pinterest is in that course. Pinterest, when they do an algorithm change, people freak out about, like they literally lose their mind. We have basically been doing our same exact Pinterest strategy for 6 years now, and it is still unbelievably successful. We do obviously tweak things here and there, but we are very, very, very nitpicky about what we change, just because the proof is in the pudding. Like, our strategy just works, and I don't want to mess with the good things. So we do update the course just like all of the courses, but we are very specific with how we update them, because I've seen the downfall of a lot of bloggers is there'll be an algorithm change, they freak out, they change their entire strategy, and then they don't understand, like, you don't understand if something's working or not if you're changing your entire strategy. So that is about Pinterest. So first I would take perfecting blogging, then I would take perfecting Pinterest, and then we have perfecting email. So perfecting email is the most complicated course that we have. I would not recommend taking this course until you're at least 1.5 years into your blog. I started thinking about email probably when I was at that 1.5 year mark, and I didn't realize how powerful email was at all. Maybe it was my age and just not knowing the world. But now, and after doing my own research for my own blog, email is unbelievably huge. It's the only thing that you actually like technically own. And once you get someone on your email list, I mean, they can come to your website every once in a while, but if you get someone on your email list, you can specifically target them for things every week, every other week, when you have launches, whatever it is, and you can constantly do it for years and years and years. So we don't want to be annoying. We get annoyed when we get emails that aren't helpful, so we try to be extremely helpful in our emails that we send, but there's a lot that goes into our email strategy, which is why it's so complicated, and why I always put disclaimers out there to not take it right away, because it would be super overwhelming. So for our email course, there's a lot of things that go into it. So first you have your tripwire, you have your free printable, or the way that you're gonna have someone opt in. So we go over tripwires, we go over lead pages, we go over our opt-in forms, we go over our segmenting, we go over our sequences, because segmenting and sequences are different. We go over how we tag people, our newsletters. I mean, there are so many parts to email. Sometimes I still am like, how did we ever figure this out? Because it is just so complicated. But that is everything in the email course. And then we do have another course coming out. I'm not sure officially when it's gonna come out. We're still working on behind the scenes of it, but it's a mini social media course. So it's definitely not as intense as the other courses that we have. But just like everything, I have a strategy for email, or I mean, not for email, for social media. And so we put a little course together because I'm getting questions about that constantly. And again, it's definitely not as intense, which is why it'll be way cheaper, but it still goes over like everything that my brain thinks about when posting an Instagram, when posting an Instagram story, how I handle my Instagram schedule, TikTok, YouTube, I mean, like all of those. So that is a rundown of the courses. Wow, that was a lot. I hope that was helpful. when I am looking at buying a course, I do so much research, and so I wanted to make sure that there was plenty of information out there if you are debating buying one of our courses. Like I said a million times, I'm going to do a video going over in detail my long deaf story, because I think it'll show you how like starting a blog can really take you to so many levels in your career on just starting other businesses. It makes things so much just more seamless, and like duh, if they have a blog on dogs, it makes sense for them to start a dog food company or whatever it is. That's like my go-to example. So I hope you liked this video. Make sure to subscribe. Check out our courses if you're interested. I also have all of those income reports on my blog from years and years ago, and I know they are very popular. So yeah, I'll see you at next week's blogging video.